Once on Friday and then again yesterday, the local rescue squad was dispatched to the Cumberland River below Wolf Creek Dam because boats had gotten too close to the dam.
There is a quiet house in Burksville, Kentucky, a town of roughly 7,100 people along the Cumberland River. Normal lives, normal evenings. And 5 miles upstream, 722 billion gallons of water are held back by a dam the US Army Corps of Engineers officially rates as high risk for failure. If Wolf Creek Dam fails, the residents of Burksville have 5 minutes, not 5 hours. 5 minutes to grab their families and reach higher ground. Most of them have emergency warning radios distributed by the government because the government knows what the water can do. Engineers estimate a catastrophic failure would cause up to $6 billion in damage across 3 states and kill between 50 and 120 people instantly. 25,000 people live in the downstream destruction zone. The US Army Corps of Engineers has spent more than $750 million trying to fix this dam since 1968. The seepage is still there, the water is still moving, and the limestone beneath Kentucky is still slowly dissolving. What Wolf Creek Dam actually is. Wolf Creek Dam is located on the Cumberland River in Russell County, western Kentucky, just outside Jamestown. Construction began in 1941, was paused for World War II, and was completed in 1951. Congress named the reservoir Lake Cumberland in 1952. The structure is 5,736 feet long, more than a mile, and 258 feet high. It is a combined earthen and concrete dam. The concrete section runs 1,794 feet across the old river channel. The earthen embankment extends 3,937 feet across the valley floor. The spillway contains 10 tainter gates, each 50 feet wide and 37 feet high, plus 6 low-level sluice gates. 6 45-megawatt turbines generate 270 megawatts of electricity, enough to power roughly 200,000 homes. Behind it sits Lake Cumberland, 101 miles long with 1,255 miles of shoreline, the largest man-made lake by volume east of the Mississippi River. The lake generates roughly $50 million annually for surrounding rural Kentucky communities through boating, fishing, vacation homes, and water sports. The dam was built to control flooding on the Cumberland River, credited with preventing several $100 million in flood damage since completion. It was, on the surface, a triumph of American engineering. But beneath the 258-foot embankment, underneath millions of tons of clay and rock, sat a geological problem that nobody in 1941 fully understood. The geological nightmare underneath. The dam is built on karst limestone, a highly permeable rock formation shaped over millions of years by dissolving groundwater. Karst is not just rock. It is riddled with holes, passages, ancient channels, and caverns carved over millions of years by water. The mechanism is straightforward but relentless. Rainwater and snowmelt absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. In solution, that CO becomes a weak carbonic acid. That acid attacks limestone, dissolving it, creating voids, fractures, and underground drainage channels. These voids can extend tens to hundreds of feet below the surface, forming unpredictable pathways for water flow. When a reservoir of 100+ feet in elevation is raised above this style of foundation, the hydraulic pressure of the water easily dislodges the cementing clays that are in the cracks and void spaces of the underlying karst foundation. The technical term for what follows is piping water forcing its way through and carrying soil particles with it, creating larger and larger voids. This is one of the leading causes of dam failures worldwide. And it creates a feedback loop. More flow leads to more erosion, leads to larger pathways, leads to even more flow. Wolf Creek Dam is primarily an earthfill embankment dam. In this form of construction, the majority of the dam's length is a nominally waterproof earth embankment placed directly upon the existing stream, with only the surface soils and clays removed. While the upstream interface between the embankment foot and the old stream is nominally waterproof, the karst solution channels far under the mass of the earth embankment can directly attack the porous and unwaterproofed foundation. That is precisely the mechanism that has been threatening this dam for over 60 years. The foundation is layered into what geologists call the lipase and cathase formations, two similar limestones dissolved by carbonic acid found naturally in underground water. In the 1940s, geological surveys were not detailed enough, core samples were not sophisticated enough, and computer modelling did not exist. Engineers built the dam anyway because the urgency to control flooding and generate power outweighed the unknowns hidden deep underground. 1968. The discovery that changed everything. In 1968, signs of seepage problems within Wolf Creek Dam's earthen embankments and foundation were discovered. Just 11 years after the dam opened, workers found what no one wanted to find. Sinkholes appeared at the downstream toe of the dam, and muddy water was observed in the dam's outflow channel. The seepage problems were traced to the karst geology of the region, which allows for the dissolution of limestone in the dam's foundation. Solution channels caused by this process allow piping to occur, which adds to the rate of erosion in the foundation. This was not theoretical. 722 billion gallons of water were pressing into that rock every single day. Engineers realised they were watching a geological disaster in slow motion. Every day the water sat there, the limestone was dissolving. Every day, the underground channels were widening. The first emergency response, from 1968 to 1970, engineers injected grouter cement like slurry directly into the seepage channels. The volume was staggering. Enough grout was pumped into Wolf Creek's foundation to pave a road 6 inches thick, 20 feet wide, and 5.5 miles long. That level of effort alone tells you everything about the scale of the problem, and the seepage had only just been discovered. A short-term solution of grouting the existing seepage channels was employed immediately. Grouting in the dam foundation ran from 1968 to 1970 and is credited with saving the dam. But grouting only stops water where it is currently flowing. Water, given enough pressure and enough time, finds new paths. And it did. The 1975-1979 cut-off wall and why it failed. From 1975 to 1979, the Army Corps undertook what was supposed to be the definitive solution, a reinforced concrete cut-off wall. Engineers drove concrete pilings 275 feet deep through the earth embankment and into the bedrock below. The wall stretched 3,800 feet long, composed of secant piles and rectangular panels, creating a physical barrier that water theoretically could not pass through. The project was completed in 1979. For a time, there was hope. Despite efforts to stem the seepage, continuous monitoring of the dam shows that seepage problems have not been completely alleviated and are increasing. Seepage has likely found new paths around, and possibly through, the cut-off wall previously placed. Water was finding pathways around the cut-off wall, over it, under it. Worse, if the cut-off wall had successfully blocked the main seepage channel, the water pressure behind it was building, and that pressure was seeking alternate routes. Alternate routes in karsted limestone mean caverns, collapsed zones, and potential catastrophic failure points. By the early 2000s, Wolf Creek Dam had been rated as one of the most dangerous dams in America, and the Army Corps of Engineers placed it on the National Dam Safety Program's high-risk list. 2007, imminent risk of human life. In late January 2007, the US Army Corps of Engineers placed the dam under a high risk for failure designation, along with Center Hill Dam in Tennessee, both of which are two major dams upstream from Nashville, Tennessee. The word imminent carries legal and operational weight. It means immediate danger. It means emergency action, now. To manage the crisis, the Corps did something that devastated the regional economy. They lowered the water level in Lake Cumberland. A full lake puts full pressure on the limestone foundation. A lower lake reduces hydraulic stress, buys time, and reduces the probability of catastrophic failure. The Corps planned to lower Lake Cumberland to 640 feet elevation, 83 feet below normal summer levels. The eventual compromise held the lake at 40 feet below normal, an indefinite reduction that remains subject to frequent review. Lake Cumberland had been generating roughly $50 million annually for surrounding counties. Lower lake levels meant empty marinas, cancelled vacations, abandoned boat ramps. The counties of McCreary, Russell and Wayne, rural areas in southern Kentucky that depended on tourism revenue, lost millions year after year. The Corps was essentially telling the region the economy must be damaged to prevent a catastrophe. That is how serious the situation had become. In October 2007, warning sirens were installed in counties downstream from the dam. Emergency warning radios were distributed to residents. The message those radios carried was unambiguous. Your evacuation window is measured in minutes, not hours. The $594 million solution. In April 2009, construction began on a new concrete barrier wall within the embankment of the Wolf Creek Dam. The contractor team Trevicos and Solitanche, specialists in deep foundation work, built a structure unlike anything previously attempted in American dam remediation. The remediation consists of building a 275 F deep, 30,800 F long concrete wall composed of secant piles and rectangular panels installed through the clay embankment and into the rock of the dam within a 5-inch tolerance. The depths required and rock hardness make this foundation project unlike any other. 1,197 piles, each 3 feet in diameter, extending 275 feet into bedrock. The wall stretched 3,800 feet, almost 3/4 of a mile, installed within a 5-inch tolerance at those depths, through rock of extraordinary hardness. The concrete wall was planned for completion in 2012 at a cost of $584 million. A risk-benefit analysis suggests a 7-1 benefit. It was completed ahead of schedule in March 2013. Lake levels returned to normal in 2014. Final cost, $594 million, more than $750 million spent on this one dam since 1968 when the problem was first discovered. But here is the uncomfortable truth that every dam safety engineer knows. Even after $594 million in repairs, even after the most advanced remediation techniques available in 2013, seepage continues. The seepage rates have been significantly reduced, but they have not gone to zero. Water still finds pathways through karsted limestone, some around the remediation structures, some through cracks that form and reform in limestone, some following ancient solution channels that existed for millions of years before the cut-off wall was installed. What is happening right now, 2025-2026? The most recent major infrastructure work at Wolf Creek Dam addresses the spillway gates themselves. A 2016 evaluation found that the 10 original tainter gates are subject to overstress due to trunnion friction issues, the force generated around the trunnion pin during gate lifting operations that stresses the rotating mechanism. These gates have been in continuous operation since 1952, over 70 years. In September 2022, the Army Corps awarded a $109.45 million contract to American Bridge Company for the Wolf Creek Dam Spillway Gates Replacement Project, fully funded by the Disaster Relief Supplemental Appropriations Act of 2022. On July 23, 2025, work crews hit a significant milestone. Work crews successfully removed the first massive spillway gate from Wolf Creek Dam July 23, 2025, on the Cumberland River in Jamestown, Kentucky. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Nashville District and its contractor American Bridge Company hoisted the 37 feet high by 50 feet wide gate and placed it on a work barge on Lake Cumberland. Its removal was a pivotal moment. It makes it possible for the contractor to prepare the spillway bay for installation of the new spillway gate and new lifting equipment, said Greg Bishop. Life downstream, the human reality. Burksville, Kentucky sits 5 miles downstream from Wolf Creek Dam. If the dam fails catastrophically, the flood surge reaches Burksville before any realistic evacuation is possible by road. Emergency warning radios have been distributed. Schools conduct evacuation drills. Residents maintain emergency supplies. Counties maintain emergency procedures. Further downstream, Salina, Tennessee would feel the surge before Burksville fully understood what had happened. Nashville, Tennessee, a city of over 600,000 people, is positioned downstream where a catastrophic failure would send a surge powerful enough to cause $3.4 billion to $6 billion in damage. The estimated immediate human cost of failure, 50 to 120 people killed instantly, 25,000 people in the direct destruction zone. For the communities below Wolf Creek Dam, the risk isn't theoretical. It's part of daily life. You get water, you get flood control, you get 270 megawatts of electricity, you get Lake Cumberland and $50 million in annual tourism revenue. But you also get monitored risk. You get sirens that could sound at any moment. You get the knowledge that 5 minutes is the most you can count on. The bigger picture. What Wolf Creek teaches America. Wolf Creek Dam is a monument to a cycle. Build, discover problems, spend money fixing them, manage risk forever. In the 1940s, geological surveys were not detailed enough. Core samples were not sophisticated enough. Computer modelling did not exist. Engineers made the best decisions they could with the information they had, and the next 6 decades and $750 million have been spent managing the consequences. The global record of dam failures offers a stark warning. Vajont Dam in Italy in 1963, a geological problem nobody anticipated, killed nearly 2,000 people. Teton Dam in Idaho in 1976, the core was too porous. Water piped through it, the same mechanism threatening Wolf Creek. Banqiao Dam in China in 1975, failure killed an estimated 171,000 people. These were not acts of God. They were failures of engineering that could not account for geological realities beneath the structures. The question of whether Wolf Creek Dam should continue operating at all has been raised by some experts, who argue that the combined cost of maintenance, lost tourism revenue, and ongoing risk to downstream populations may outweigh the 270 megawatts of hydroelectric power it generates. But decommissioning a major dam is politically complex, economically disruptive, and essentially unprecedented in America. The environmental disruption would be massive. The political resistance would be overwhelming. So Wolf Creek Dam remains monitored, managed, leaking, and waiting. The USACE official position is honest and precise. Wolf Creek Dam remains high risk. They don't say it will never fail. They say they are managing the risk. That is an honest position, because in karst geology, you cannot eliminate risk. You can only manage it moment by moment, decade by decade. The remediation works better than anything that existed before. The monitoring is more sophisticated than at any point in the dam's history. The Army Corps of Engineers has spent $750 million and invested decades of engineering expertise in keeping this structure safe. But in Burksville tonight, those emergency radios are charged. The residents know the dam is upstream, and the limestone beneath Kentucky continues to dissolve one molecule at a time in the darkness beneath the dam.